Hey there, Tiffany here with Years of Years, and it's this day in Disney for June 17th, and today we are headed back and celebrating somebody's birth again. Back in 1903, painter and teacher Donald Wilkinson Graham is born in Ontario, Canada, and so he is actually Walt's resident instructor between 1932 and 1941, teaching such young animators as Ollie, Johnston, and Marc how art to paint and to draw, and giving them formal instruction to help take Disney animation to the next level. So this is something that Disney decided to do, well actually the animators decided to do to improve their skills, and Walt was on board, everyone was on board, and so they took art classes. And so we're talking today about Don Graham and what he gave to Disney and teaching art to them. So in 1950, you know, after he had spent over a decade teaching, Walt asked Graham to investigate the possibilities of making films on various aspects of art. So I thought that was so interesting that Walt wanted, kind of like with the nature films, and he did you know, science and space films, all these you know, animated instructional films. I think he wanted to do stuff like that with art as well. So that really piqued my interest, and I thought that was so cool. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, and but it did become, Don Graham's work did become a book, which was The Art of Animation. So obviously really important book, and we have the resort after the name as well. Don Graham fell in love with drawing and painting early on, and so when he was exposed to it, he was actually an engineer at the time, and he left that career to go to Stanford University at first to study art, and then he in 1923 went to the Chouinard Institute of Art. So he actually didn't have all the money to pay for his schooling. He worked as a janitor at Chouinard, and he actually slept in a school's bathtub to minimize his rent. So I thought that was an interesting, you know, revelation to show where he started and how much he cared about, you know, learning and studying and becoming good in this career choice, that he was willing to sleep in a bathtub. So some of the things that we do to realize our dreams, right? So he was among the first of the graduating classes from Chouinard, so right there at the beginning, and he was there for many years. He left for a short time during the war, but then came back. He went to New York at one point to study and paint, and then on to New Orleans for a year and a half for drawing and teaching, and a position in New Orleans at art school. And he continued to study paint and landscapes until 1930, when he returned to Los Angeles and was hired by Mrs. Chouinard as a life drawing instructor for the next 4 years. And this is when, after that, in 1932, during the formative years of Disney Studio, he was commissioned by Walt Disney to instruct evening classes to improve the drawing abilities of artists. And he was sent on actually on a country-wide talent search in 1934, and was called upon to judge portfolios of new Disney artists. He actually went through 35,000 portfolios over a 7-year period. So Don Graham had a huge part in Disney, who was chosen to come on and be the new animators after you had, you know, the 9 old men and all those guys from the beginning. He was picking the future for Disney. So I think that's really important, and why he's so important to Disney history. His education of drawing as a drawing teacher really, he began when trying to solve some of the problems inherent in animation. So animation was so new. This was a new art style. And so as a technical artist and having the talent that he had, he was coming in and solving problems that just didn't make sense in animation and helping to make it better, more beautiful, and making more sense the way, you know, bodies move and things like that, and animals move. He's behind, you know, the time period when they brought in, you know, a deer to draw and understand while they were, you know, working on Bambi and things like that. So real life subjects to bring animation to the next level. So thanks to his interest of Mr. Disney, Don spent the next 10 years attempting to solve these problems in Analysts of Action. So really, he had a huge part in why Disney animation is so good. He worked, he really tried to figure it out, and it made a huge impact on how things were done, obviously. So really interesting, a huge asset to Disney. He was assisted by top animators. Graham helped to document and establish many of the principles that make up the foundation of art of the traditional animation. He posthumously received the Winsor McCay Award for Lifetime Achievement in Animation as well. So this is a quote by Art Babbitt, and he said, Don Graham really knew what he was teaching, and he showed you how to do something. He didn't just talk. He taught us things that were very important for animation. How to simplify our drawings, how to cut out all the unnecessary hand-scratching amateurs have a habit of using. He showed us how to make drawing look solid. He taught us about tension points, like a bent knee, and how the pant leg comes down from the knee, and how important the wrinkles from it are to describe form. I learned a hell of a lot from him. Pardon my language there. But yes, he did, and lots of animators did. So that is Don Graham. That is why Disney animation is so good, or part of why it's so good. And you know, this is all because Walt, he was such a great person at pulling in ideas, and I think he was good at not saying no to things. And this wasn't necessarily his idea, but he was like, let's run with this, let's do it. And it took Walt Disney Studios to the next level, and probably affected animation for all the studios in the long run. So that's Don Graham, and that's it for this day in Disney. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.